Hi, we're here at the geo-engineering protest in Kings George Square with the organiser Matt. Now Matt, can you tell us what this is all about today?
Well, basically we're trying to raise awareness and get a local group of people together to take some action against this geoengineering that is confirmed by the government now as, you know, being afforded in grants. I think it's disgraceful. That's what made me come out. I've seen the planes over my own house on the Sunshine Coast spraying for 5 days straight. Same experience at my place here in Brisbane. A lot of people feel the same. There's a lot of apathy out there, but obviously we got some people here, so there's enough people getting concerned all across the country.
Aussie Beach TV. You're watching Aussie Beach TV. You're watching Aussie Beach TV. The hottest girls you ever see.
We're here with Steve. Hi Steve, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you.
And why are you here today?
I'm here today because I've got 3 grandchildren that I want to inherit our Earth intact.
Well, I came down here today to help the fine folk down here, raise awareness about what's going on, to alert the public about what's going on, you know, to look up in the sky and realise this isn't normal.
So what are chemtrails and what are contrails?
Contrails are what the government say to everybody that is the exhausts of chemicals that are coming out from the engine combustion. The fact is they are chemtrails, not contrails. Chemtrails linger in the air for a couple of hours and stay up in the atmosphere for probably months or a couple of years.
Of course, that's just a theory, according to us conspiracy theorists.
I don't think it's real. I can't believe it. They can't really be spraying us like bugs, can they, Latesha?
Well, that's up to the public to decide. What do you think? Do you think that could be a good thing or a bad thing? Or
Isn't it when they have chemicals in the sky? That's never really a good thing, is it?
No, definitely not.
I don't like the idea of it one bit.
Basically, it can be a number of different things that have been used for weather modification is one thing, but we also know for fact that populations have been tested on by governments, including the United Kingdom and the United States, and it came out just this last year as well that they've been spraying radioactive zinc, cadmium, sulfide as far back as the 50s on citizens. So, you know, there is a number of agendas that come into this, including that particular agenda of biological experimentation on the population.
And there's numerous references online, and just have to Google weather modification and cloud seeding, all that kind of activities, and you'll soon see that it will branch off into other areas of chemtrails.
So geoengineering, basically particles in the upper atmosphere, that will potentially block the sun, that will cause a cooling effect, so they say.
So how do you think we could protect ourselves from the chemtrails?
Well, it's being sprayed in the air, isn't it? So basically any air that comes down, get yourself a gas mask, I guess, but...
And obviously the fact that, you know, if you're putting alumina particles, alumina oxide, it's a fact, well established in science for over 20 years, that alumina oxide shears the ozone layer. So if they're really talking about the climate, if they really care, then why?
The aluminium, you know, there's people that are hypersensitive to aluminium, you know, there's people that are hypersensitive to all the ingredients that come out, the other ingredients, barium. The environment has an effect on that. They test the ground in the documentary, and aluminium in the food, you know. And if you go back to the rumours that there's an even greater agenda behind this, like viruses and stuff, it could have devastating health effects on anyone.
So, Matt, when did geoengineering start in Australia?
Well, we're not exactly sure, and to be honest, there are a number of different agendas that could be playing out at the same time as the geoengineering in particular agenda is happening. We know for a fact that the Australian government now funds geoengineering.
The Queensland government initiated a cloud seeding project over southeast Queensland in 2007, which continued until 2009. and early 2010, and I also know that most of Queensland was covered by floodwater in 2011.
Why do you think the mainstream media and the government haven't informed the general public about these chemtrails?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I don't think it's sort of like a thing where they all get together and say, okay, we're not going to tell them about this. This is going to be our big secret. I think it's a too hard basket kind of thing. The United States is one of our biggest allies, obviously. And they're up there, you know, building these bases in the Northern Territory at the moment that, you know, researchers are identifying as the same sort of bases that they've been building in other places in our country. And then there are local ones as well. So there's a lot of industry involved in this too. We've identified several contractors and also weather modification companies that do spray the sorts of things that a dispersal, you know, that they don't have to really tell you about. They go to state government for approval, but obviously there's a lot of money involved. As far as people who aren't there, it's above their pay bracket, as you would say, I guess, and you know, no information.
The mainstream media aren't going to tell you anything that's going on, quite frankly, and because it's such a eyebrow-raising issue, you know. If they tried to reveal this, hey, we're spraying aluminium in the air to try and combat global warming, people would have an uproar about this. You know, what's going on?
So do you know who's responsible for this geoengineering?
Of course not. Nobody knows. And they're not going to tell us. I have suspects. I believe that the US Air Force, having vowed to own the weather by 2025, might have a hand in the game.
I'll tell you what, if it's not Gillard, it's Abbott. If it's not Abbott, it's Gillard. I don't know, mate. Who is it? Maybe it's Obama. Maybe it comes from the top.
The United Nations, it's a global project. And considering Australia is under the monarch, we don't have a say. That's why you're not going to see it in our mainstream media.
Okay, Matt, so what message do you have to portray to the Australian people about chemtrails?
Well, I think, I mean, this protest in general is about the geoengineering aspect, but I think what we have to say right now is we have to get past this sort of backwards forwards thing where specific groups are sort of coming out and sort of fighting other people or, you know, getting involved in things online. We need to sort of push past that and get some sort of response. Yeah, well, one thing I like about Aussie Beach TV in particular, I've seen a few of your things before, especially the coal seam gas one. I like that one. I like how you guys ask the hard questions, you know. There's not enough people out there now who are really asking these hard questions.
There's people here, there's people all around the world, there's people across Australia, New Zealand today, everywhere that are out on the streets, and they are getting this message across and they are putting it straight into the public's face.
They deny it's happening, even though all the evidence is there, you know. On one hand, we have, you know, the conclusive evidence is happening. On the other hand, they still say, well, no, that's a conspiracy theory. I mean, that's got to end. We got to start censoring the media and saying, you know, hey, it's no go. You can't write these articles up and misrepresent what people are saying, paint people in the light that perhaps, I don't know, some out there might like to see people in. And we really just got to push that geoengineering, that question, to all of our local, federal and you know, state members and say, do you support this? No other questions. And when you do see the planes and they're unidentified planes, you call CASA up and you ask them, the Civil Aviation Safety Authority, you keep asking who owns the planes. Don't ask them any other question, just ask who owns the plane, I want to report it. Because they'll try and dance around this every single way. They'll try, oh, that's a condensation trail, or they'll just leave you a message. You know, it's not good enough. So, you know, people have to be strong. Don't get paranoid about it. We're going to get past it. We're going to move on from this, and yeah.
You're watching me.
You're watching me.
You're watching me.
You're watching me.
You're watching me. You're watching me on Aussie Beach TV.
Now I'm going to sit down and scoff and you can hear.
Beach TV.